Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress Comic News, episode 403. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my co-host here, Mike. How we doing, Mike?
Pretty good. You know, we had the couple weeks. Well, our fans didn't have a couple weeks break, or over a week break, but we did.
Yeah.
So there was still content for them, but things are good. We're into the new year. New year, same podcast. I've had a couple weeks off from work, so hopefully when I go back on Monday, I still have a job. Other than that, things have been pretty good. Just playing a lot of Wukong. I'm on the last boss, finally. The Blacksmith Wukong. It's an amazing game, but man, is it hard.
I wanted to play it until I found out it's hard, and I like having fun.
It's like, and I've played all the Dark Souls games, and Elden Ring's pretty hard. This is like, it's just hard, man. But it's so, every 2 feet is a boss. I think I fought, by the end of the game, you fight like 80 bosses, which is crazy.
I caved and bought Baldur's Gate 3.
Ooh.
And I've been really liking that.
Nice.
And the joke, so have you played it?
I've played, so I have a problem with all these games. My own personal problem. I put about 20 hours into it, and then I get overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of put it down after that. But I do understand why it's an amazing game.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So yeah, it's like a single player D&D adventure, but
yeah, for real.
Do you have the character creator in it?
Yeah, you can hang dong.
Yeah, and my joke, and every time I can create a dong, I create the biggest one I can.
Oh,
Because I'm role-playing, Mike.
Of course. You want the things that you can't have in real life.
Yes.
Like pointy ears and long dogs.
Yeah, playing a druid.
Okay, yep.
And I forget because it's all 5e stuff, and right now I've been playing first edition.
Uh-huh.
And
how overpowered
that, 5e just gives you every power right away.
Yeah, you could just talk to animals already. You could just, you could transform. Yeah, where it's like, first edition, you're like waiting 5 levels to do anything.
Oh, you can't do shit for like, dude, I'm level 7, I still can't do shit.
Yeah, you still just like shooting things with a bow.
Oh. Imagine being a magic user in 1e, man.
Oh,
that's what I am.
Yeah, that's the worst. You're like, I can stand in the back and I can light up the hallway.
Invisible.
I can mage hand the doorknob for you. All right, everybody. We do have a first episode of the new year here. We have a very special guest, Douglas A. Burton's on the show. We're going to talk about a couple novels that he wrote. And we just talk about a lot of stuff. He's a really great guy. Has some really interesting insight into writing. He wrote a book for writers, so love to have him back on the show. I think he's it's great when we have somebody so captivating and very knowledgeable of their craft. So he's a great listen. I could just sit there and listen to him talk for quite some time. So
yeah, probably could have gone another like hour.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm getting sucked in here. We got to go. You can't hold all of this time, but and I think I think other than that, we could get into the news.
Have you ever watched The Sopranos?
I have not, but I've heard it's really good. And
I'm getting into it.
Oh,
I'm like
you are?
6, 7 seasons. I don't know where.
But
it's a really good fucking show, man.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is they start to get remembering it takes place when it's filmed. So it's like Bush America.
Do they have like beepers and pagers in that era?
Dude, they have flip phones.
Yeah. That's like how The Wire was when I was watching it. It was like beepers and pagers, yeah.
Yeah, but it's so funny seeing like, I guess funny is the wrong word, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seeing some of the things they're talking about, because it's a lot of like war on terror stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of like, there's a whole season devoted to like a character is gay.
Oh yeah,
and like,
it's like a big
the
topic.
Progressive guy is the one who doesn't want to kill him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely a product of the timeline, right?
Yeah. But it's really, really well done.
I've heard it's really good. Yeah. It's one of those shows that I got to get into. I did, have TV coming up, I guess, but I watched season 2 of Squid Games. Did you ever watch the first season?
No.
So this one kind of upset me because I could tell, and I think the fans kind of reacted the same way. I could tell that the way it ended, this was there wasn't. So what they've already announced is, so the season came out and they said, okay, season 3 is coming out this year already, and it just came out like a few weeks ago. Season 2, it ended in the middle of season 2. If like they're having a big firefight, they're shooting and stuff like that, and then it's like, okay, the episode ends and that's the season finale. It's like that. It wasn't a season finale. It ended on episode 7, so it's like, come on, yeah.
It feels like one of those mind you, being someone who didn't watch it,
yeah,
it feels like one of those shows that was meant to be one season.
Yeah,
and the guy had like this great idea,
and it should have been one
successful.
Season. And you know what this season kind of gets into is, I mean, it's got the K-drama elements. People are very expressive, very dramatic, but it's almost like torture porn at this point, where it's like, okay, you know, the first season we saw people getting shot and mutilated, and okay, we're seeing more people being shot and mutilated. It's like, it, you know, it's like, okay, how much more of this are we gonna watch? Like,
that was kind of the idea I had going into the first one. Like, I felt like that's why I didn't watch it. I'm like, okay, it's another.
It's just like, why do we keep
Hunger Games, but like ramped up to be murder porn?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And so like, I'll probably watch season 3 when it comes out just to finish it off. But it's like, I really wish they should have just kept it one season. You know?
Yeah. I also started watching that Arnold documentary on Netflix.
Oh, there's a new one?
The Arnold Schwarzenegger one? I think it's from last year.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
the only one I know is Pumping Iron from years ago.
Oh, no, this is like recent. Last year. There's 3 episodes, but they're really 3 movies.
Really?
And it's the first episode is him as a bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second is him getting into Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like partway through that. And that's really well done too. But I think that's an example of I got sucked in, but I don't know if you like didn't give 2 shits about Arnold, if you would care.
I love Arnold, so I'll watch the shit out of that. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, and he narrates the whole thing too, so it's like, okay, it's phenomenal. Just his voice.
This is
the
me
entire
working
time.
out. Yeah. This is me taking a shit.
We're just bumping iron.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely watch that. I think he's very well spoken too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a governor, right? So, the Creature Commandos. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. Did you end up? And we've been watching Creature Commandos, but there was a movie that came out that I had watched and you hadn't watched it, and I can't think of the movie now. Oh, the Superman documentary. Did you watch that?
Not yet, no.
Oh, okay, because I did see it was on HBO. Let's talk about Creature Commandos. So, episode 5 and 6 are out. Watched them, and so when we first started talking about Creature Commandos, I'm like, wow, I'm really surprised about all the sex scenes. These last couple episodes, I've been really surprised about the dead children in my animated show. Once or twice is like, all right, okay. Once is like, okay, this is very surprising. Twice is like, okay, this is really fucked up. Yeah, the origin with Alan Tudyk's character, not radioactive, man.
Dr. Phosphorus.
Dr. Phosphorus was really fucked up. They like murder his family, and then they're like, like rubbing him in the dead bodies. I'm just like, what the fuck this is kind of messed up, right? Like, I have a fear that a child is going to be like, their parents going to put this on because it's like a DC show, honey. Here you go. Like, have at it. Yeah. I would say with each episode, I like Frankenstein more and more. I think David Harbour does a good job at the voice acting. We got a Clayface in an episode, also voiced by Alan Tudyk again, who voiced Clayface in Harley Quinn. So he even talked about that in an interview that he was so excited that he got to play Clayface twice and got to voice the character in 2 different ways. It was pretty amazing. Because he's a great voice actor. He was a voice actor before all this came about. But I think the Clayface was pretty cool, that whole scene. The fact that they have to go there, this whole thing with Cersei and whether the world's going to end or not, I think is interesting. Creating some conflict within the group, and yeah, I think overall the show is great. It is just very graphic. But
So I was just looking up. Episode 5 is the Frankenstein stays with a blind woman episode, which was
where he murders her at the end.
Which it was a weird episode.
Yeah, that was a weird episode.
And then 6 is the Dr. Phosphorus origin story. So I walked to the comic shop. I hadn't watched episode 6 yet.
Okay.
And it's on the TV at the comic shop, and somebody there was just like, says to me, yeah, it's kind of weird they're doing Dr. Phosphorus's origin story. Like, did we really need to do that? Don't people know him? He's a Batman villain. And I just thought, like, I'm the guy who's like known to hate origin stories.
And you're like, yes, you need to.
And I was just like, everybody misunderstands when I say that because I mean well-known ones. Yes, you need Dr. Phosphorus's origin story. Nobody knows who the fuck this character is.
Nobody knows who that is.
I don't care if he's fought Batman.
Yeah. He fought Batman in like the 1986 or some shit like that. Like, come on. Yeah.
That episode's really, I think 5 is like the weakest episode so far. 6 was a good episode.
I don't think we needed episode 5, and that was weird, the whole like he killed the grandma kind of thing.
Yeah, and I thought I liked Frankenstein at first, and this like obsession with being like with the bride and everything was interesting. And it's quickly worn out its welcome.
Yeah,
for me.
I need some more stuff.
Yeah, like I want Agent of Shade Frankenstein. I want like the brutal tactician Frankenstein, but we're not going to get it, so I'm not going to worry about it. It's an interesting show. I'm really enjoying what they're doing and kind of flipping. It's kind of doing the JRPG thing where like they have the mission, they're successful, and then they're just like, hey, let's do it again, but the opposite.
Yeah, now we got to go back and do that's so true. I mean, it's not bad. Still kind of enjoying it, but
I'm starting to like Weasel as like a character, and it's
me too.
I feel weird about that.
I know, because he doesn't say anything. He just goes,
but like now I feel for him. Like he's not a bad guy. Why is he here?
Yeah, I know. And he never killed anybody. Yeah, he's just misunderstood, right? All these people are just misunderstood.
The fish lady from Hellboy is like, I'm just confused on her whole power set.
Yeah, I don't know. She doesn't do a whole lot, right? She just like is like, oh, I'm useless every fight. So
yeah, which is why I don't remember her name, because she just looks like the fish lady, except there's a fish man in Hellboy. But
and I don't even remember his name.
And like she confuses me. I don't get why she's there. She's the character that like annoys me because all she does is complain.
And doesn't have any powers, right?
Yeah, I was like, I can't do anything, and I have this glass thing in my head. I'm like,
I wonder if she can do something, and it's like going to come out like
it. I was telling a friend, I think they want that reaction out of me of like, I don't like this character and she's useless, because when she pops, it's going to be a big moment.
It's going to go off. She's going to like.
Now I'm at a point where like I understand that they're manipulating me, so I don't think it's going to pop as well. But we'll see.
I almost think she can talk to fish or something. So if there's going to be an incident where she like calls a bunch of sharks or something, we'll call it now. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll jump into the movie news. Before we talk about the movie news, I'll talk about. I did go see. So it was either Sonic 3 at the theaters or Nosferatu.
And you chose wrong.
So Nosferatu was good. I'll say this. The director, if anybody's watched The Witch, I still like The Witch better. There's some movies that the director's done, like Lighthouse, I didn't care for. This was one of the ones that teeters on like it almost was a little too artsy fartsy for me, if you know what I mean. So I will say Nosferatu, the voice of Nosferatu, like I think it's Bill Skarsgård doing the voice. It was deep, guttural, like heavy bass. That was amazing to hear that in a theater. But there was a lot of, I guess, I mean, you're a big vampire fan, and I see this online. A lot of people are like, okay, to tell a good vampire story, you need to have romance, because there's quite a bit of romance between, like, I mean, so there's like, Lily Rose. So to me, this movie could have been directed by Kevin Smith, because number one, Nosferatu hangs dong. So you see Nosferatu dick in this movie.
10 out of 10.
And it has Lily Rose Depp in it, who is, if you're a Kevin Smith fan, you know that he's friends with Johnny Depp, and they've put each other's daughters in movies, whatever. So it could have been a Kevin Smith directed movie. I don't know, but Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really scary. There was so first off, I think it could have been about 40 minutes shorter. I think it's like 2.5 hours. It probably could have been 40 minutes shorter. The scenes are very slow. There's some cool shots, some really eerie stuff, but then there's a lot of weird vampire sex with this decrepit man that I don't really need to see. And yeah, I mean, I think it's worth a shot. Like I've watched it once. I don't need to see it again. They made Nosferatu look a lot like Rasputin, so they kind of like went with that vibe. Yeah, I was a little disappointed. I thought it'd be more scary, and then it was more like like a psychological, weird, dark movie. But that's my take on it.
I want to see it, and there was a few times I was going to go see it, and just things got in the way.
Yeah.
As far as the vampire stories need romance, vampires are like zombies. They're a setting, and you can do whatever you want around them.
Yeah, so this is like a romance story with vampires.
So vampires have a history of romance stories.
Yeah.
But not necessarily. Like some of my favorite vampire things are more monster horror than romance.
And if you've seen the original Nosferatu, they have some like callbacks to that movie where the hand and the shadow and all that stuff. So, I mean, I think it's worth a shot to watch it at home. You could probably wait until it comes out.
That's probably what I'll do at this point. Like, yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll just talk about the news a little bit after that. Batman Part 2 has been delayed again to October 2027. So now it's 2 more years. The second delay for the movie, and they say that the script has been completed and casting has not started, which is weird. Some speculation online says that the movies are being quietly canceled. I'm like 50-50 on if this movie's going to happen now.
I find it hard to believe that they're going to cancel it.
Yeah,
especially if Penguin does win awards.
Yeah.
It'll be real hard to cancel this. But I see these movies as their art piece for the DC films.
Yeah.
And then they can do whatever they want with James Gunn's movie. I will say, I was trying to figure out, because it does feel like a long time in between sequels. But when we were, you all will see this in a few minutes. When we were doing the interview, I was looking up the time between Nolan's Batman movies, and it was 4 years. This will be 5 years.
Oh, so not much different then.
So not a huge difference. And if you want to count the Penguin as part of that, then it's even shorter.
Then we got even shorter, yeah. Okay, all right.
Understood. So I think the speculation online is bunk, to be honest. Like I don't understand how you would follow up Batman and the Penguin and say like, well, we're going to do a new Batman, so fuck that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're going to piss off one of the best directors in the industry right now.
Yeah, let Matt Reeves finish his story. If he's got a story to finish, let him do it. Let him cook, as the kids say. So. Yeah, I hope it's not canceled. I would love to see a Batman Part 2 and a Batman Part 3. But
yeah, I mean, let him do his trilogy. Just let him finish it.
Yeah,
I don't see a reason why you would do it. I mean, I was skeptical of the idea to begin with of like doing Elseworld stories, and I think there will be confusion on the market, but it'll work itself out at the end of the day. Like, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
People would be all right.
Yeah.
Speaking of confusion, I was at the theater for Nosferatu, which I was so excited because I'm like, oh, I get to see. I walked by another theater and I heard the music for the Superman trailer. I was like, oh, fuck. I'm going to get to see the Superman trailer on the big screen. Never got it.
No.
Never got it, dude.
Not for Nosferatu.
But as I was going into the restroom at the theater, this group of women were coming out of one of the theaters, and they're like, I don't know about that Superman. It's not Henry Cavill anymore. And I'm like, see? This is what you started. You don't have Henry Cavill. People are going to riot. Like, first it was The Witcher, now it's Superman. People are going to be upset.
Well, after the next thing we're going to talk about, just Henry Cavill can be Batman. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true. Because None of it makes any more sense. DC Films has announced that Jason Momoa has been cast in the Supergirl movie as Lobo. So Aquaman is now Lobo. It's fine. They rebooted everything.
It's James Gunn making the correct casting this time.
Yeah.
Not that I hated Jason Momoa as Aquaman,
but he just wasn't like the brohemoth Aquaman just wasn't a thing.
Yeah, and it's just so obvious that he's Lobo.
I would have loved Patrick Wilson as Aquaman, who plays Orm. I thought Patrick Wilson would have been an amazing Aquaman.
Yeah, like it was a weird. That's when they said Jason Momoa was joining the DC extended universe. I remember being like, "Well, it's definitely not Aquaman, because like he could do almost any other role, including Wonder Woman."
He could. Yep. He has the
and
hair.
It would be fine, but Aquaman just like the weird one out, and then like it's Aquaman. Okay,
it's Aquaman. Okay, I don't know anything apparently.
But Lobo.
It makes sense. Right?
Lobo fits. I mean, he doesn't have to act in this movie. Like he just has to play Jason Momoa.
Yeah. The question is, are they going to like put him in rubber makeup, or are they going to like CGI him?
Yeah, or just body paint or something.
Yeah,
like
body paint. Yeah.
I'm sure that's what it's going to be, but he's big enough to do it. Like Lobo's not a huge individual.
No,
he's. I mean, the size of a normal human. He's just like jacked.
I think I have the first appearance of Lobo now. I might have to speculate that online.
Oh, there you go.
It was like a $5 book.
Speculation, Mike, at it again.
Here we go. It's a New Gods issue. That's cool. I mean, yeah, this was like the fan casting for years now, so we finally got it right. So
yeah, and this is one where I'm like, it's not even fan casting; it's just correct casting.
Right? Yeah, it just makes sense.
It makes way too much sense. So good on Gunn, and we'll see what then comes of it.
Yeah. Video game news. We don't have that so often on the show. Marvel Rivals has been out for about a month now. The developer announced that the next state of new characters coming out for the game is Fantastic Four. I did see the picture of that. That's very cool. I haven't played Rivals. I don't know if I will. Have you played any?
No.
That's cool that I've heard it's pretty popular.
People have been loving it. Yeah. I if I had more time, I would give it a shot. But
I got some other stuff I want to play. So
yeah, I'm at the point in my life where I have to accept I'm not going to play everything, and I have to strategically pick the 100-hour RPGs I'm going to play, and just those. That's basically what ends up happening.
That's it. Yep. That's cool though. I hope Fantastic Four get more popularity. I would love to see a trailer for the movie soon, but I don't know. We'll see.
I feel like it's going to be lined up for that too. Like they'll launch, the trailer will launch around that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, Marvel. The synergy at Marvel is strong.
Yeah, they hit it's like the lily pads, or like the elite pads. They hit this one, then this one, then this. Okay, then trailer, and then it's like now we hit it again, and then a movie. Yeah. I think with that, let's jump into the comic book news.
The Marvel comic book news.
The Marvel comic book news this week. In the final pages of Timeslide #1 was Marvel's summer event comic titled Imperial. Other than the tagline of Jonathan Hickman presents the end of the beginning, we have no other details. So Jonathan Hickman presents the end of the beginning, so it's going to be a 60-issue run. So we'll see you in 5 years. What could this be, Chris?
Marvel's done this before, where I forget the name of the book now, but it was Jonathan Hickman presents, written by Brian Michael Bendis, whatever the book was, I forget now. So I have a feeling that this isn't like a Hickman book. This is just, hey, let's put Hickman's name on it so people buy it.
Yep, pretty much.
Which you didn't need to do. It's a summer comic event. I'm buying it anyways, people.
Everyone's going to buy it, right? Yeah.
I wonder if it's Ultimates related, though, because the end of the beginning, we're into year 2 of the Ultimate Universe. Hickman's doing Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
But I have a lot of questions. But, I mean, I love event books, so I'm going to buy it. It doesn't matter.
I do think it's interesting teasing an event like 5 months before.
Well, I mean, that's been their MO with these time books. I forget what it was called before Timeslide. But like, it's going to show you the future of the Marvel Universe, and we'll talk about that book later in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So it made sense they did it, but the picture has like stars in the sky, so I'm assuming it's cosmic related. Which, hey, if it's cosmic related, that's cool. I like cosmic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it also says nature abhors a vacuum, Mike. So
yeah, I did see that. Whatever. Nature abhors. Guys, I'm not gonna lie. I gotta Google abhors. Regard with disgust and hatred.
Yes.
So,
that nature, disgust and hatred is just right there with it.
Nature hates a vacuum. So the villain is Dirt Devil, and
the hero,
yeah,
Jesus.
The villain is the giant vacuum from Spaceballs. Well, I mean, it's in good hands with Hickman, right? He's a strategic architect.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things where Hickman had an idea, but he's like, I don't got time for this shit. So,
he's probably going to bring in the Ultimate.
It's
going to be like an Ultimates universe on Earth 616 or some shit.
If it's Ultimates related, it's Dennis Culver writing it. I'm going to stake it in the ground right here.
Nice.
But yeah, we'll see when we have more news. We'll talk more about it. Yeah. But yeah.
Tangentially announced months ago was Predator versus Spider-Man. Marvel has now officially announced the series with writer Benjamin Percy, nice, and artist Marcelo Ferreira.
Target. I believe I've written the other Predator versus stuff.
Yeah,
drawn.
I think so. Mm-hmm. Target, Spider-Man and Predator's grittiest series yet. A heat wave sends New York City into blackout and Spider-Man on patrol as tempers boil across the city. But beneath the grimy sewers and subways lurks a threat unlike any other Peter Parker has faced before, introducing Skinner, a predator of no honor, no clan, only thirst for blood. That's cool. We get different types of predators. I like that idea too, because there's a lot of predators.
Mm-hmm. Was that not the Predator from the Black Panther one?
No. The Predator from the Black Panther one was a dude. They were like warring factions of predators, and he wanted adamantium armor. And okay. So like, yeah, it was like a different story about. I don't know. I don't think they ever talked about his name, but that's what they're doing is like focusing on different predators. That's cool.
Oh, this bro's got like a mohawk and everything.
Yeah, it's wild.
He almost looks like Baraka from
Street Fighter,
Mortal Kombat,
or more. Mortal Kombat. The guy with the yeah, he looks just like.
Yeah, the guy with the bone swords.
Yeah.
Kind of like the one true Deadpool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I do like that take on like the one true Deadpool. A different. I mean, I would love if they make more Predator movies too, like they did with Prey. I thought that movie was amazing. Yeah, I'm excited for this. I like these crossovers. I think they're a lot of fun, and they've been doing a great job of them. So.
Yeah, I know you've been really liking them. So,
and I mean, we got Predator in New York City. That was Predator 2. With what's his name from Lethal Weapon? I don't know if you remember that.
Oh,
Riggs.
Fuck.
Riggs from Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Danny Glover.
Yes.
Yeah, what a fucking movie that was. That was amazing. Predator in the big city.
Yeah, it's.
It was amazing.
Good on. I won't pick it up. I'll pick it up when it's Predator versus a character I like.
Okay.
If the only way I'll buy it is when it's Predator versus Daredevil or Predator versus Captain America.
Yeah,
because then they need to go in my Captain America and Daredevil collection.
So you would think in a blackout it would be Daredevil versus Predator because he's the only one that's used to.
Because he's a blind man with the power of sight.
I'm guessing Spider-Man's going to need Daredevil's help. We'll see.
I mean, that's usually what happens because Spider-Man's not that great.
No, he's too friendly.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we're going to talk about the comics we read over the last couple weeks. I'm just going through the list here on my tablet that I was reading. So, Space Ghost number 8. I don't know when this one came out, but I read it. We're kind of starting a new story arc here. Did you read Space Ghost at 8?
Yeah, I talked about it a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So that's cool. I like this new big bad villain that they didn't defeat in one issue, kind of from Space Ghost Pass. I thought that was really cool. Justice League Unlimited #2. We still I would say all these DC all-in books have a kind of the overarching plot that everybody's powers are all mixed up. So we're sticking with that for a while. We see that some of the the missing kids and creatures that were capturing them were parademons, but they were just these parademons that had just had like birthing pods or something in the middle of the woods. They're not tied to Darkseid at all. They kind of just like, oh, don't think too much about it, because I think that's what they want the readers to do. But then we get one that has like sentience, which is interesting. Because most of the time they don't. But they end up fighting, and then we see something happening with Martian Manhunter because he's having issues without his powers. So I almost think he thinks of himself as a monster. So at the end of like this issue, he flies away and like goes into hiding. And then we have the other side of it where on the we get a glimpse of what the Atoms are doing. They're trying to, all these people, random civilians, are getting powers. They're trying to sap their powers with this device they made. And we talk about that part of the story actually goes into like the Atom Project. So overall, good issue.
Yeah, I like the idea. Now we kind of know some people didn't get all their powers, but some people got extra powers. Like we're going to see an Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the whole Manhunter thing was really cool. It was funny though, because I was like 50-50 on picking up Atom Project.
Yeah.
Because like it was mentioned so much, I was going to get interested.
Right.
And this issue was just like, took that away from me because I'm like, oh, that's what they're doing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You should have just not shown that and I would have bought more issues. But
yeah,
since you did, I'm like, oh, I know what they're doing now. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, with that, I guess I'll talk about Atom Project. I picked up Atom Project because the Atom is one of my favorite heroes, and having all of them. So this story is a little interesting because what the two Atoms, Ryan Choi and Ray Palmer, are pushing the Atom, which is the steel guy made out of nuclear atoms. They're like doing a bunch of tests on him to get his powers back, and experimenting on him to figure out how to, because they have locked up in the Watchtower right now, or they call them like A-level threats of like, the issue starts off with this kid who's like exploding electricity everywhere and needs to discharge his electricity and is like harming a bunch of people. So they have these people locked up that are a threat to other people and themselves, and they're doing experiments on this Atom to try to figure that out. And he kind of gets upset and ends up like, he's on the run now, the Atom, and I know it gets confusing.
I don't know their names, but the
Nathan's the one right. There's Nathan, Ray, and Ryan.
Yeah, there's White Boy Atom, there's Atom Smasher, and then there's Chinese Atom or Asian Atom.
So Ryan Choi, no, so that Atom Smasher is not in this one.
No. Oh, because he was in Justice League. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so Nathan is the Atom, like the nuclear guy.
Mm-hmm.
With the he's like made
like
out of
the original
steel.
Atom.
Yeah, like the Atom Bomb guy. And then you have Ryan Choi, who's the younger Asian guy that was a student of Ray Palmer, and Ray Palmer's the original Atom.
Oh, Ray Palmer's the original. Okay, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, it gets kind of because there's like Atom.
I'm just not a big Atom guy, so like I know I knew there was two. And Ray Palmer's the one that punched his wife or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. But it's an overall good issue. I think there's a lot of cool stuff happening here. Basically, Nathan's on the run because he's like, I'm done doing experiments. You guys are done doing experiments. I mean, you haven't done anything for me. And we find out that he has extra powers, like you talked about. So they go to catch him with like a squad of like army people, and he actually doesn't just have his like atomic powers. He has like super speed. So he like takes off. It looks like he's in tune with the Speed Force, which is crazy. So not only is he nuclear powered, he also has like the Speed Force.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty overpowered. It was a cool reveal at the end because he was like running with like the red lightning bolts around him. This is Superman number 21. Yeah, so Superman and Lois go on a date, which was fun. These little interludes we got were really funny too. I like those of like seeing a glimpse of like other people.
The Jimmy Olsen and Silver Banshee one's my favorite because
nothing happens. Yeah, it's funny because if you notice their facial expressions, like his smiles and hers is like uninterested, and then when she smiles, he's like scared. So they must be like watching different types of movies, or something. But basically, it all comes down to Superman's really worried and anxious about Doomsday, and then this guy shows up, this like united front called the Aftermath of other worlds that Doomsday destroyed, and you're like, okay, you guys gotta give us Doomsday, or we're gonna destroy your world because we want to take vengeance. The guy has a really cool design too, so I'm really interested to see what's going on here. Now the lesser of the two Superman books, Action Comics.
Real quick, yeah. I just want to say, because I laughed because I thought of you when Amethyst shows up.
Oh yeah, I didn't even bring that. I was like, motherfucker.
And
yeah, the Amethyst.
The Aftermath people, they have the design is like OG Doomsday coded.
True. Yeah.
So it's definitely gonna like tie into his Superman, original. Death of Superman.
Mm-hmm. Action Comics 1081. I'm so glad we're done with this Phantom Zone run. I was so done with this story. I mean,
I believe it's done being weekly now too.
Yeah, it's not weekly anymore. They say major disaster looms. So everybody's put back in the Phantom Zone. Superman's all good. And this story with Supergirl, I don't understand. We never found out who I asked who to, I still don't know who this person is that Supergirl was supposed to kill, so it's really stupid. That I don't even know what that
was. That the about. Final of that story?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's stupid.
Yeah, the person's still in that costume.
I believe this week or next week the new issue comes out. I wouldn't know because this week, because Lunar fucking sucks. None of my DC books showed up.
Oh my god.
I'll get them next week, but yeah, I believe the new issue comes out and it's a different creative team. So,
okay,
kind of reset on Action Comics once again.
I read Geiger number 9. That was a good one. Looks like Junkyard Joe is almost on the tracks of Geiger, so gonna find out what's going on there.
Yeah, and I feel like King. Gary Frank must really love Junkyard Joe because he even showed up for the 3 pages where Junkyard Joe's involved.
Yeah, he's
probably nobody else is drawing this character but me.
Yep, he must love him. Redcoat, I think you talked about this one already. Number 8.
Nope, right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a pretty crazy episode issue where he like finds his family, that like colonial family that's like murdering people, and he gets murdered by them and kills them all. And then we have this other guy shows up that we haven't seen yet, the Northerner, and he's looking for the Redcoat, and he also talks about Geiger. So now we're starting to see a lot of these guys start to cross over. So we'll probably get more of him in the next issue, and then it says Johnny Appleseed is coming too. I don't know what's going on. So it's still a really good. It's still a really good series.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool one-shot story.
Yeah,
and so every week or month, I've been looking at this in the back, this like timeline.
Yeah,
and yeah, the Northerner has been on here since day one. Like the Northerner
that's always been there. Yeah,
hunt begins. So now I'm looking at other ones like the Monster is made, Widow and all these other ones that so on and so forth. But I think it's really cool that he's doing Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm in on next issue.
Metamorpho number 1. I don't know if did you read this?
Nope.
This was great. This was Golden Age comics to its core. Just the writing style. It was a lot of like Dragonfly Man style.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like it's just a story revolving around Metamorpho and the people he works with. There's some guy that like comes into this building he protects and basically tries to zap his powers, but now they know someone's trying to kill Metamorpho, so he's kind of like teamed up with this girl Metamorpho to. I mean, it's a good story. I really like it. It's like Golden Age comics. It's got the Element Man in it, so I'm enjoying it. Thought it was a lot of fun. Got a few more here. we have Batman. This was a crazy issue, 156 from this week.
You
didn't get your DC stuff, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything. I'll say great issue. The reveal at the end, you're gonna love it. There's a big reveal at the end. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. I was kind of like iffy about the story, and then once things started to reveal themselves, I was like, oh fuck, okay.
It was Gentleman Ghost the whole time.
Yep, you're right. Damn. So you did read it. JSA number 3. Hawkman is trapped still in hell. There's somebody there that's going to save him. Kid Eternity's been there for a while, I guess. And then we have the JSA kind of like interacting and fighting off the villains and like trying to figure out where everybody is. Another solid issue. I think Jeff Lemire's doing a great job. And the last book I got to was Absolute Wonder Woman number 3. Nice. I really like this issue. We see her battle. We see her have more interaction with in the history with Steve Trevor, how she gave up her arm so he could go back home, which was cool. That reveal that she didn't have an arm. The creature like grabs her arm and she like it's a magical arm. I thought that was badass. And then there's the thing is going to start calling them to its mouth and it's going to like consume everybody, which is wild. So she casts a spell on the whole world to make them deaf, which was awesome. I think this book is super metal. And I want to see more of it. I'm really enjoying it. And I think the action in it is really great.
Yeah, I like that they're connecting her further to magic. I know they've tried that in the mainline DC universe.
They've done a great job with it so far.
Yeah, it's been much better. I think Wonder Woman has gone up my list, and now it's my second favorite Absolute book.
Nice.
But I don't know if you saw in you don't get previews anymore.
No, I don't.
But in the most recent previews is Absolute Flash, Absolute Green Lantern, and another Absolute book. So there's 3 more coming.
God.
Yeah.
Oh yes, give me all of it. All of the absolutes. But that's all I got to reading. I got some stuff I'm a little behind on. But
I'm gonna have to make some cuts on my pull list.
Yeah, dude. This is like and even just DC alone, I'm like, damn, I had like 15 DC books.
It's getting out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Batman Robin Year 1, number 3.
Yep.
So yeah.
That good, huh?
I already forgot what happened in this book. I'm not gonna lie to you. So we're gonna skip it. But I remember liking it.
That's
I read it like 3 weeks ago. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But what I didn't forget, Mike, was Hellhunters number 1.
Oh, hell yeah.
So this is essentially just the origin story of this Ghost Rider, which is and the villains we're gonna see in the book. So his origin story is that he's one of those guys from the army that jumps out of the plane, troops down.
Paratroopers?
Paratroopers, thank you.
Nice.
And as he's about, he lands, and then, one of these demons attacks him, and he's dying, and then he's given the choice, and turns into the Ghost Rider, and that's when Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos show up. A little disappointed that I didn't see Cap actually, I didn't expect to see Cap, but I did expect to see Bucky and Wolverine in this issue, and we didn't. I'm guessing they're saving that for next issue.
Mm.
And then the villains they're fighting are these Nazi soldiers, shocking, that come across a horse demon. Okay. And give them power that's supposed to help them win the war. And those are the same demons that attack the guy then. So, it was an okay issue, but I kind of understand they had to do this origin, but it's not why I bought the book. I give a shit less why he became Ghost Rider.
Right.
But it is also spinning out of something that's happening in another book, so I guess I should have expected that. But I'll continue reading it, just so I can see Bucky and the Howling Commandos. West Coast Avengers, number 2.
Nice.
Yeah, they do a mission, and so they're in the middle of the sea, and there's a ship, and they're trying to rescue someone from there. We get to see Spider-Woman be kind of a badass in this issue, which was cool, and Blue Lightning just pisses her off the entire time, which I thought was funny. And the big bad for this issue, what the person who was running the ship, the cargo ship, was the alternate universe Nazi Steve Rogers, who was calling himself something else, and I thought it was funny, and I forgot to write it down. But
Steve Natzers.
No, it was dude, it was really good too. We're gonna look it up real quick. Because apparently he shows up in some Krakoa stuff, and it must have been after
after you stopped.
Yeah.
After you dropped off.
Oh, it's Grant Rogers.
Oh my god. Love it. Such a Nazi
I thought it was
name.
funny for some reason. And then they win, blah blah blah, they go back. There's this whole moment where they try to make Ultron the good guy again. Mm-hmm. But then another Ultron comes from the sky, and he's evil. So we gotta figure out what's going on with two Ultrons. But,
classic Ultron stuff.
I'm enjoying it. It's fun. Captain America, Sam Wilson, number 1.
Nice.
It's not a movie tie-in, but might as well be.
Pretty much.
So a bunch of vampires attack people in Harlem, and Sam Wilson saves them.
That's cool.
And then he goes to a barbecue.
Wait, Captain America and vampires in one book just for you?
Yeah, you'd think.
Yeah.
This is not the reason it's not for me, everybody. He then goes to a barbecue with every black hero in the Marvel Universe.
Okay.
And Steve Rogers.
Nice.
Which is really weird.
That's weird. Steve, don't you get the vibe here? Do you think you were invited?
Got a theme going on, Steve.
Yeah, Steve, come on, man. Like, this guy always shows up.
Captain Bradley's there. Young Patriot's there.
Nice.
And there's this whole back and forth. There's a whole conversation, about exactly what you think. And then Sam's sister shows up, and she has this whole scheme where some big corporation, and that's how it's on board 100%. No issues. Never going to be. It's going to be perfectly fine.
It's going to be fine. Yeah.
Is going to help the environment by giving people land to farm or something weird. So Sam goes and checks it out, and it's a city in the sky. Also, completely on board. Nothing can go wrong, right?
Yeah, nothing to see there.
And who else would be the head of security at this random land in the sky
besides Dr. Doom?
Than Robert Maverick, who is the Red Hulk.
Okay. And
informs Steve that he no longer hulks out. I all knew that was bullshit. And then we found out that on this land there's ecological issues with it because it's a perfect ecosystem, except there's no ecosystem because all the birds are freaking out because there's no mice and shit for them to eat, and a bunch of other stuff. So, and then all the animals are robots with the exception of a few birds or whatever that make their way in, and the birds freak out. So Sam has to fight them, and then for some reason everybody's like, Sam's a threat. He's a life model decoy. That was a weird turn.
Yep.
Not 100% sure why that happened. I think because they just needed this last page where Red Hulk comes in. Literally smashes out of a building like the goddamn Kool-Aid man is like, we're going to fight now.
Oh, yeah.
It's not good. It's just not good.
Damn.
I'll keep reading it, Mike, because I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, you are.
No, it was good, though. It was The Ultimates, number 8.
Nice.
This is the Guardians of the Galaxy episode or issue. And Mike, they just turned the Guardians into the Legion of Superheroes. They're from the 31st century.
Yep.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Love it.
And they have a thing that binds them together, and they're going to save the universe.
Nice.
Except something happens on the timeline, and it's starting to disappear. And we find out that America Chavez was a part of this Guardians of the Galaxy. So they're trying to convince her to come back to help them. Because their whole goal is to go across the timeline and find the different Guardians because they've been scattered across time. And that's how they're going to save the universe.
Nice.
It's a lot of weird dialogue. But in the end, we find out that they give Chavez a button that she can push. And when she pushes that button, they'll all just come to her.
Okay.
So that's their way of being like, hey, when we fight the Maker, this is how the Guardians are getting here.
Okay.
And then there's one page of Iron Lad in a Bapta tank because he died in the past issue, but they're going to bring him back because, Tony Stark, they got to bring him back. And then Timeslide number 1. which was the book that was supposed to show us the future of the Marvel Universe.
Mm-hmm.
It did none of that.
Damn.
It's a very so if you're not an X person, like myself, don't read this book because it's all just X-Men shit, and it's literally Cable and Bishop going across time to important moments in X-Men history because this creature who feeds on the time stream is eating important moments in time, and for some reason it's only X-Men moments. And then there's like 2 things in here where they're like, hey, where they do the fractured thing, like, hey, these are things that could happen in the future, but none of them are mysterious in any way. Like, it literally just shows the new champions and the Luke Cage book that's coming out, and the fact that Doctor Doom's Sorcerer Supreme.
And they don't say anything about it.
Yeah, like it's nothing. There's a few tidbits in there. Like there's a weird Spider-Man costume that looks kind of cool, and there's an Iron Man that kind of looks like the original Ultimate Iron Man, but they're all stuff that we already know about. So
right.
They used to in the past do more with teasing at things that could happen, and the closest they did come to that was this chart in one page where they're like, hey, this is the timeline why it's screwed up, and it just tells a bunch of story arcs. And I'm like, okay, a lot of these have been announced. Some of these are like, okay, what's this? Like, Dormammu Invasion of Earth sounds cool. I'm down for that. But the rest of them, like, okay, they're either X-Men things or we already know about them. And when it's all said and done, they save the day.
Nice.
So, I'd say it's an easy skip. And we already told you the most important part of it, which is that this is in the back.
Yeah, Imperial. That's it. That's all you needed to see was that poster.
Kind of disappointment. I've really enjoyed those time books in the past, and this one was not great.
That's annoying.
So, Mike, that was everything I read this week. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter/X. Where can they find you and or the show?
Find me on X at Fortress Chris, and also at chriscomicscorner.substack.com. We're doing reread of Batman Hush leading up to Hush 2, so
cool.
That's gonna be fun.
Nice.
And you can find the show at Fortress Pod on X, also at fortresscompanynews.com. And if you want a sports show, there's patreon.com/fortresscomics. 5-star reviews on podcatchers, and on the YouTube version, you can like, subscribe to the channel, and share, and comment down below. So thank you all so much for watching and or listening this week. We'll see y'all here next week.